Hello everybody, you're watching FunSmiths International. We're continuing our Star Wars celebration. As you can see, it's winding down. Happy 40th anniversary again, Star Wars. We're so excited about the new movie, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And as you can see here, yours.
Even a sister need to drink every now and again. Bombs up, everybody.
Bombs up. Okay, yeah, enough keeping around. Okay, so you're gonna keep it on, or?
Yeah, we can bomb for a while.
Okay then. Well, so as you can see here, we have some of our favorite Star Wars merchandise. Here we've got Kylo Ren's helmet. We've got Vader's helmet. We've got a Star Wars mug. As you can see, you got Chewbacca ready to stand on this side. On the opposite side, we have C-3PO, BB-8, and R2-D2. Here we have, on this side, Kylo Ren and 2 Stormtroopers. On the opposite side, we got Captain Phasma. Here is a Star Wars lightsaber. BB-8 headphones.
They don't work anymore. Or do they?
Yeah, that's usually. They're still cold
They
though.
don't last long, I'm sorry.
And we have this Star Wars magazine talking about the history. As you can see, we have a good combination of both the cast from the original trilogy as well as the new films. On the back, we see an old picture of the game from the original trilogy. So, you know, nobody thought back in 1977 that Star Wars would be such a smash hit now and still be so beloved and iconic, and people were still talking about so much. And not only that, people definitely never thought they'd still be making movies to this day in the franchise. It's one of the most beloved and most iconic movie franchises of all time, one of the highest grossing. There's tons of lines that people are constantly quoting to this day. People just come in my audience just to see the films when they come out. And you know, when it first came out in 1977, and a lot of it is talked about here in the magazine, for one, Carrie Fisher came to the premiere with her little brother. She didn't bring a date, she brought her little brother to what she described as being sort of a B sci-fi movie. That's what she thought back then when the movie was coming out. That's what they all kind of thought. That's what Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford thought that. That's not saying that they didn't still like to be a part of it, but I mean, Mark Hamill said that after the first film came out, they weren't even aware of how popular it was again. They were on a plane somewhere, and this big group of people showed up. A lot of them were kids, and they had these two sides say, Star Wars, we love Star Wars, and they didn't even notice the signs at first. They were like, oh, what's they doing here? There must be somebody famous here. And they didn't realize it was them. They were the famous people there that everybody was there to see. And then Mark Hamill sees a little girl with Leia's hair buns, and he says, look, that girl's got your hair buns. And they're all just excited, and they get really excited. They can't believe just all this is for them. And the movie ended up becoming the highest grossing movie of all time, a record that they would not get back until 38 years later. They kept it until I think the movie that actually broke his record was E.T., which was ironically made by George Lucas's friend and me, Steven Spielberg. But anyway, we'll talk more about again the record back later. So if we get to kind of a retrospect about it, you know, I mean, we talked about the first film and about how, of course, it was also nominated for the Oscar for Best Picture that year. It was nominated for some other Oscars, included Sir Alec Guinness was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and Sir Alec Guinness himself kind of thought the movie he was doing was very odd. He thought himself that it was very odd, and he didn't think as much about it even when he was initially cast. And to see it go on that big journey, it's really been amazing. It's just been great. It continues to go on. It be such a classic and a beloved saga, and it's just huge. I mean, it's huge around the world. The fandom remains strong even after all these years. So you get to the next film 3 years later, 1980. Everybody's excited for it. There's a lot of hype, and everybody's just eagerly waiting to see what's happening next, what's next in store for this series in this great fantasy world that's been created. And it's now this huge thing. So when they get to The Empire Strikes Back, of course, there's some plot twists. There's the big plot twist specifically. Mark Hamill talked about how nobody really cared when the first one came out. You know, that they didn't care if you pass the script right, pass around to people they read it. Didn't care if you spoiled some details about the story. But then when you got to The Empire Strikes Back, I mean, especially with that one big twist, they kept it from being spoiled by basically giving false dummy dialogue to David Pross, the actor in the Vader suit, and rest of the cast. And so when they kept filming the movie, rehearsing, no, excuse me, before they were filming, rehearsing, yeah, they rehearsed it with that dialogue, which that dialogue was, "No, Obi-Wan killed your father." And Mark Hamill read the script and he thought, "Well, man, why a twist?" He thought that was a good twist, and then we found out what the twist was, which at the time only George Lucas and about one or two other people knew. He was told right before they filmed the scene. He read it, and it says, "No, I am the father." It's like, well, I see better than the original twist. And actually, a tabloid came out because someone else, I guess, had leaked out the fake dialogue, and it said, "Sir Alec Guinness to be new body in Star Wars 2," because the original dialogue had been released. So that kept it from being spoiled. That was brilliant, and that was really clever. And even when they shot that scene, only Mark Hamill and David Pross, only two actors at that point that knew it. The rest of the actors didn't even figure out until they watched the premiere. And Harrison Ford actually turned over to Mark Hamill, what's the and said, "Yeah, should tell me that." Well, Mark Hamill likes to imitate Harrison Ford a lot. Harrison is not a big fan of his imitation, but you know, they just kind of laugh it off. And then, of course, that left everybody with even more questions. And that ending, of course, was kind of anticlimactic. It was supposed to be how the dark ending. And then it seems like the bad guys have essentially won. It's like, what's going to happen next? How's everything gonna turn around? And then you get to Return of the Jedi 3 years later. Everybody's excited about that. Then we get the grand finale of the original trilogy. That time they thought it was going to be the last movie. So you get to that in 1983, and once again, of course, everybody's excited about it, and the critical audience reception is great. It's like it was for the first two, and you get more twists. You get that Luke and Leia brothers to figure that out. But the bigger twist is that Darth Vader turns back to the light side because the Luke turns him back to the light side. And really, to me, at least us, that was the much bigger twist.
Twist
in that movie. And it all kind of just starts with the initial twist is that he's Luke's father, and you just get more twists from there. And we continue to see that. And Return of the Jedi, it sets a big reveal when he takes off his mask. You see the facial reveal. You see the relationship between him and Luke. It's very emotional moment. And then of course we reach to some of the other great characters. It's emotional when Yoda dies too. It is great when you see the three and the three spirits of Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin. They look back and look at this smile. And they have the Ewoks have the big celebration, and of course people were too crazy about the Ewoks when they initially introduced Return of the Jedi. I think now their food is being pretty beloved and iconic. So that's something that's kind of changed over time. But the film as a whole, Return of the Jedi, was still just as beloved, even though it was a little more lighthearted and not as dark, but it had so much emotion. And you loved to watch Obi-Wan guide Luke, train Luke, Yoda train Luke. And after Obi-Wan dies, he's the first character we see come back to his spirit. And of course, he's chopped in half, basically. And he just kind of disappears like a ninja, falls through. Yoda disappears like a ninja, kind of just, you kind of fade through when he dies from that's right, ninjas or space ninjas. We don't see that with Anakin. I think that's because he's cremated with the Darth Vader suit on, and so yeah, the movie is, and it seems like the perfect, satisfying ending to this great series, to this great trilogy. But at the time, especially as the years went by, people wondered, will there ever be more of those movies? We would like to see more. And people knew that there had originally been plans for more, but George Lucas was so burned out with the trilogy, and they didn't have much of the technology to do a lot of the stuff that he would have liked to have done. And that's largely why we didn't see any more for a long time. I mean, George Lucas thought that was going to be it, really. He thought Return of the Jedi would be it. I mean, yeah, that's it. When the first movie came out, the first one, 1977, he had told people that it was actually supposed to be the fourth chapter, and what he envisioned as being a 9 to 12 part saga, that he ended up kind of trimming down to 9. Although, if you've heard the news, Disney, of course, has announced that they are going to go on with the 12 after all, like he originally mentioned.
They're going to do episode 10, 11, and 12.
They're going to do episode 10, 11, and 12, so gives us reason to be excited. And
the long-term contract we had slots to be making these movies to the end of time by Yoda. That was Roy Yankovic's song Yoda, and he actually has a lyric about it making.
And that's before they even made the prequel, dude. It's like he just knew there were going to be more. I mean,
he knew there were going to be more.
He knew there were going to be more. There was just too much money on it. It was too beloved. So with that said, we have the 16-year-old guy. Everybody's asking questions about the other kind of brief little scripts he had written about the other ideas. It's like, well, wait a minute. So, and they asked questions about, so who was looking like his mom, and why did Anakin go to the dark side because Darth Vader? That's all those questions. So comes out 1999, episode 1 of the Phantom Menace, and of course they go back and they rename the original trilogy. The first one is given the episode 4 mark, and it's given the subtitle New Hope. It was originally just called Star Wars when it first came out in 1977, and then the second one was originally just called Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. So they go on, they added the episode 5 to it, they added the episode 6 to what was originally called Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. So Star Wars episode 1, The Fables, comes out, which is supposed to be the very beginning of the saga, and this movie gets lambasted. This movie is met with very bad reception from both critics and audiences alike. I mean, what the critical reception isn't as bad as the fans, because I mean, it's a little more mixed purely because if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, it's actually a 55 out of 100, I think. Maybe it's 54. I think it's actually 54. I think it's 54 out of 100, which isn't that bad of a score, but it's not that very good either. it's
barely below average.
It's like barely below. It's a little above average. It's like it's. If it were 5 points higher, it would be fresh. If it were 60, and then this, the fans are just fussing about Riley having his defense. Some people do like it, but for the most part, it's not generally well liked when it initially comes out. Now, I mean, with that said, some people do change their minds about the film later as it goes along, as time has passed. But the initial reaction is not good at all, and it's funny because everybody is going to see it anyways, despite the bad reaction. The franchise are just so beloved that people just can't stay away, and the movie ends up becoming like one of the highest grossing movies of all time, and even makes more money than the original trilogy, all of them together combined. it's like the highest grossing movie of that decade. But then when we get 3 years later to episode 2, Attack of the Clones, people aren't quite as enthusiastic after, the fan base wasn't what they wanted it to be, what they expected. And when we get to Attack of the Clones, obviously the box office success, while it's still good, it still makes a lot of money because it's Star Wars. People are trying to just be open minded and think, okay, well maybe this film will be better, and so the film doesn't make as much money. The film is a little better received, but people still aren't generally crazy about it. They're really not. And of course, in the first film, there was some bad dialogue people hated. People hated the addition of Jar Jar Binks, who was just over the top, over the place. And Jar Jar, thankfully, is toned down and Attack of the Clones. People like better. People didn't like Jake Lord as young Anakin, so they replaced him because of that. I think he was literally fired because of that. So in this film, Anakin is now played by Hayden Christensen, who, oh my gosh, is even worse. He's even more poorly received by the audience. People are not crazy about him. And to top it off, Attack of the Clones has even more of the bad CGI the first one had. The CGI is much worse. Now, the reception is still better because this film ends up getting a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is technically fresh, but it's still not very high. Attack of the Clones still is getting that much better received, and it seems like Star Wars is going through a bit of a rough patch. I mean, after just being on top of the prequel trilogy, when we get to the prequel trilogy, it's not going as well as it should be. And so then 3 years later, we get to Bridge of the Sith, but everybody's excited because this is the big one that kind of leads in to the original trilogy. This is the one where Anakin becomes Darth Vader. So, and everyone's thinking this one could finally be the one of the prequel trilogy that gets it right. So this one comes out 3 years later, 2005, and this one actually does completely get past the misconception from the critic that the first two got. This one is generally better liked. A lot of the problems with the first one have been fixed now. Hayden Christensen's acting, while still not great, does get a little bit better in the second act. A lot of the acting is better. The script is better. While it brought some of the flaws from the first two, it's a lot better, and it's more on par with the trilogy. It's more what people had wanted, but it's kind of, I kind of wanted to see, but it's kind of like as soon as things got better, it's like that trilogy was over, and you still you kind of saw the fans having mixed responses to Bridge of the Sith. Some people still weren't that crazy about Bridge of the Sith as a whole, but a lot of people did like it better. So it seemed like everything was kind of back on top, but the prequel trilogy was over, and then George Lucas acted like, no, I'm not gonna do it anymore, because even he admitted that he was kind of disappointed with the way the prequel trilogy came out as a whole. It didn't come out the way he initially would have liked for it to have. So with that, everyone just kind of thought, well, there's not going to be any more. That's fine, because we have Return of the Jedi is the conclusion to the whole saga. We have kids kind of watching it in chronological order from 1 to 6, but people still wanted so much more, and it looked like there wasn't going to be any more. It just looked like that was going to be it. So then we have a 10-year gap where there's essentially no movies other than the 2008 Clone Wars animated film. Was that movie also was that one was a massive flop. I mean, that one actually did worse financially than episodes 1 and 2. That one was even worse received from the critics. It was supposed to be a lead-in to, of course, the Clone Wars animated series, which that series actually did become a huge hit. So we had that to kind of hang back down for a while there weren't any films coming out. Of course, I did forget to know that during the 16-year gap between Return of the Jedi and the Phantom Menace, there was the 2 Ewok movies, which were terrible and horribly reviewed. They really didn't do that well. They aired on TV. They really weren't the best received in the range. You had the live-action Ewok show, which also was very poorly received. It didn't do well.
Animated Ewok show too.
That one got a little. That one did a little better. That one got a little more mixed reception.
Kids loved it, that's for sure.
I think some kids kind of like that one better. But so it's like, and then there was also the Star Wars Holiday Special, like in between 4 and 5. So you saw you had that kind of people over, and then you had the prequel trilogy, which didn't go over smoothly. But then you had the Clone Wars series, which actually was very well received. It was a huge hit. Everybody really enjoyed it. But you also did have the 2D Clone Wars series before that, kind of before we just sit there, and everybody really enjoyed that. I mean, despite the fact that there was a lot of excitement for what the Sith was coming out, a lot of people ended up really like it. It was a high grossing movie in 2005, and it didn't make a lot more money than Attack of the Clones, still not as much as the film is, despite that, everybody just kind of felt like there needed to be more, and you saw kind of a bit of a skew with fans because you had some fans that kind of either already liked the prequel trilogy as a whole, even episodes 1 and 2, but then you had some that didn't really like that much of Star Wars, but then they kind of warmed up to them later because they just kind of grew up and thought, like, well, this is a good introduction to the original trilogy, though, and that's why you have to look at this. These were prequels. I mean, and with that said, I mean, you still have fans that kind of really didn't care for the prequel trilogy. They really just liked the original trilogy. They prefer that alone. But then you have some people like, well, no, I like the original trilogy, I like the prequel trilogy. But really, it just, we needed more, and everybody still wanted more. Everybody really wanted to see the next part of the story after Return of the Jedi. That's really what people kind of wanted from the beginning. I mean, really, even though we enjoyed the prequels ourselves, the prequel trilogy, but it is true that we probably could have gotten the movies that we're getting now a long time ago if it hadn't been for the prequel trilogy. We could have gotten the 2 pages ago if they hadn't done that, because everybody really just wanted to see kind of the next chapter after Return of the Jedi. So finally, 10 years later, we finally kind of get the Star Wars movie that everybody wanted. Both big fans of the OG, people that like the OG and the prequel trilogy. Both, it's generally well liked by most of the fans. So that is, of course, Star Wars Episode 7. The Force Awakens in 2015. Now, how did we get to that? Of course, we should mention is that everybody thought the movie was never going to happen. After 30 years, we finally get, of course, the next chapter. 32 years, excuse me. They rounded it to 30. Of course, it's 30 years after Return of the Jedi. So people are really, it's only a 10-year gap between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens, but it feels like it's a 30-year gap because it's like 30 years waiting for the next chapter after Return of the Jedi. People have waited 32 years actually, excuse me, and there was some deception happened, and when the prequel trilogy was going on, and they really didn't think it was going to happen, but everybody really did want to see it though. I mean, so George Lucas finally decided to give the rights to it because Disney had wanted to have the hands on for a while. They already had rides in Disney World and Disneyland and attractions, Star Wars, and they assured him.
Mickey Mouse.
And they assured him that it'd be in good hands. He didn't want to. He wanted to give everybody the rest of the movie that they wanted to see, but he didn't want to really make them himself. He didn't really want to be full charge. He of course is still a mild critic consultant on the film. He still makes money off of them, and that's kind of what he went through. It's like, I can still get money from it. That I don't have to be there for the making process. But just give them the credit to do what they want with it. Them and Lucasfilm and other executives, they can hire a new director and some new people to work on with what they did. So we get J.J. Abrams comes in and they give him the credit to do what he wants with it. And they kind of already done that with the Clone Wars animation. He kind of stepped down a little bit from that and had other guys at Lucasfilm kind of just taking their own creative approaches as we're filling the gap between episodes 2 and 3. We also get Red Bulls before The Force Awakens, which is filling the gap between episodes 3 and 4. And everybody just gets excited again. Everybody is back on board. Even the people that weren't the biggest fans of the trilogy, they're back on board. They're excited about. They're eager to see like Luke, Leia, and Han again. To see those three beloved characters, and then to see what happens next. What's the next chapter? What's the next adventure? After everything kind of seemed wound down and wrapped up in Return of the Jedi, but everybody still wanted more. And like I said, The Force Awakens comes out, and it's generally loved and generally well liked by the fans. And we get introduced to some good new characters. We get an interesting new story that's beginning a new adventure. So we have the new protagonist, Rey, played by Daisy Ridley. They go on a journey to find Luke Skywalker, who's got missing, because the Force Order, of course, has risen to political power. And they're basically like neo-Nazis. They're people that they're trying to start the new empire. They want to bring the empire back. They get help from Han and Chewie and then Leia and the rebellion, and you see C-3PO and R2-D2. And they're trying to get the droid back to BB-8 that has the map to Luke's whereabouts, and then of course it's just so emotional. I mean, we saw the movie opening day, and just seeing the audience reaction. Everybody just had these strong reactions, getting excited when certain characters popped up, and when they did, like when Rey did the Jedi mind trick, everybody just got excited and just popped their freaking minds, and it's just like.
And they found ways to